My name is Officer Bobby Dube. I am an officer with the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission here in the fabulous Florida Keys.
Yeah. And what can you tell us about seagrass? Why is seagrass important?
Wow, seagrass is very important, especially here in Monroe County and throughout the state of Florida. Seagrass is actually a flowering plant, and it can be found anywhere from Tallahassee all the way down to the dry Tortugas on the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico.
And what's important about it here?
The seagrass, they provide a vital role for the ecosystem. They provide food and shelter for a lot of our vertebrates and invertebrates. When they're juvenile, whether it's fish, lobster, crab, they use that as a nursery to hide until they can get a little larger and hide. They also hide from predators in the seagrass beds throughout here, the Florida Keys and the rest of the state of Florida.
So it's a very important ecosystem, it would seem.
Of course. Not only does it provide a safe haven ecosystem for all juvenile fish, crabs, and vertebrates, a lot of people don't realize, but the seagrass also provides water quality. It filters the water and sediments that come from the shore, runoff that might come from rainwater or some storms. It's very important because it provides a filtering system for our water quality here, not just in the Keys, but throughout the state of Florida.
Oh, so what are some of the laws around seagrass?
Wow, seagrass, like you said, is very important. So it's the most important when it comes to ecosystem. So we protect it, not just here in the Florida Keys, but throughout the state of Florida. So if you are to run aground in your boat, per se, or your personal watercraft, or prop scarring, where you're running in shallow waters that are too shallow and you're tearing up the seagrass bottom, that's called damaging to the seagrass. And we have fine amounts for that here in Monroe County, the Keys.
What are some of the fine amounts?
A lot of it depends on when you run aground, let's say, or you cause damage by prop dredging. What we do is we mark it. One of our FWC officers will respond. We'll mark it, and we'll have biologists come out and survey the area and measure and mark how much damage was actually done square foot wise, and then they will determine a fine amount and a penalty amount to charge that boat owner or boat operator.
What are some of the ranges you've seen from like the low?
Wow, me personally, it can range in the thousands. You know, when you got a vessel that might go, cut through a flat, and he's, churning up 100 yards or so of seagrass bottom, it could be very expensive here in Monroe County, that's for sure.
Wow.
Also, it might be in one of our state parks, Penny Camp, John Penny Camp, which is the largest water state park in the state of Florida. We have a lot of federal waters here, but most importantly, the state parks, can be very shallow, so we have a lot of vessels that run aground, do some prop scarring here in the Keys especially, and officers, like I said, will mark the area and call in a biologist to measure and mark, and they determine the fine amount when it goes to court.
Yeah, when you speak to about the actual physical geography of the environment, like the flats being like around here, and what your boat is going to be aware of?
Well, the best thing to do is familiarize yourself with the area. GPS is a great tool to have on a boat, especially if you don't know the area. Here in the surrounding waters of the Florida Keys, it can be very shallow at times. So you got to know where you're running. And it depends on the depth that your boat can run in. So we don't want to cause any more damage to the seagrass bottom that has already occurred over the 30 years plus that I've been here in the Keys. So you want to make sure you don't damage the seagrass bottom, and if you do find yourself that you ran aground, please do not power off. Powering off means you're trying to force your outboard engines or inboard engines to power off the flat or the sandbar, causing more extensive damage to the seagrass. So that can add to your fine amount and penalty amount when it does go to court.
Well, but what's it like for anglers out here? Why would anybody want to be on the flats anyways?
Well, a lot of people, like to fish and dive down here, and you can catch, lobster, fish in very shallow waters. And like I said earlier, you know, the keys, the surrounding waters can get very shallow very fast. So you really got to know where you're going. GPS is